Chicken dinner back in 2026. The NFL playoffs are set. We're well into the college football playoff. That's going to be a lot of fun. Sam, are we as fat as we were 365 days ago?
You know, if I had an over-under, it would have been about 13 and a half pounds, and I would have shaded the over. The over would have been minus 150. I stepped on the scale.
I don't want to.
7. That's it. Only 7. I think I figured it out. Here's the trick. You only eat one meal a day for the holidays. That's the trick.
How about 6?
6 meals a day?
There aren't meals. There's constant grazing, constant this, that, all day, every day. Yeah, it's a sad state right now. I'll tell you what. I don't know if you're happy to be home, but I'm happy that you're home. Because you would think that you were visiting somewhere in, I don't know, media market number 300 because we couldn't find consistent internet over the last week. So for that reason, I'm happy you're home. And we tested before jumping on air. I think things are good to go.
I have a feeling until we go back to Forest Park, Illinois, there will not be an issue. I'm ready to rock, ready to roll. And guess what I cashed today? Never thought I was going to get there. On the Minnesota Vikings over 8.5 wins.
Oh, wow. So you were checking it throughout the week. So we can kind of mention, I didn't think we were going to start with the Vikings, but we can start with the Vikings because I had a lot on that game. You had a lot with that win total cashing over. I did because the one survivor pool that I was still alive in, which it looks like way too many people are still alive in, but it's a decent cash. I took Minnesota. I mean, that line kept climbing some more. I'm like, all right, let's do it. Flores defense against Clayton Tune. I'm good. So I didn't know this, but both of us were rooting for Minnesota hard today.
I saw that number at a couple books close at 13.5.
Yeah.
And some kid was complaining about a bad beat because he laid the worst of the number. The point spread opened at 6.5. Got all the way to 12.5, 13. One book closed 13.5, apparently. Final score 16-3. Bad beat. Not really, though.
Bad better.
Bad bet.
Yeah. Bad bet, bad better. And I'm looking now to see where we are. We had 65 going into it. Everybody won. Everybody won. Nobody took the Bengals. And that was the one that got people. One person in Circus Survivor ends up costing them millions. But yeah, everybody won. You had a big favorite in the Jaguars, the Texans. It was a little too close for comfort for some there, but they get by. Minnesota was a popular play. When else were you going to use them this year once you realize, oh, this is not last year's Minnesota team? For those that had Buffalo, few had New England in mind, Rams, there was one Bronco. Everybody won. So the prize pool was $500,000, and I want to say that's 65. So it's short of $8,000 per person. Decent cash, but when I say $500,000 prize pool, I made it to the end. You're obviously hoping for a bigger cash.
And Chirizi E cashes again in the Rich People League on Your Splash Sports. So congrats to him. And if you're watching on YouTube and you can see 5 people in Circa go a perfect 20-0. So they split that pot, $18.7 million. All 5 entrants get $3.74 million. What a sweat.
Don't save anybody for week 18. If you're ever in this sort of position, you don't know who's going to be playing. Look at the quarterbacks that we saw on Sunday. I mean, there's just trash everywhere. You got Riley Leonard out there with his 3 turnovers in that game. Cam Ward started. Cam Ward did not finish because what's the upside? Oh, wait, he's injured. Let's just pull him. Trey Lance was in for the Chargers. Quinn Ewers out there again for the Dolphins. Mitchell Trubisky running things all over the Jets, 4 touchdown passes. I mean, this is what you get. You get Steve Buechele playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's, I think his name's Steve, right? The former Longhorn quarterback. No, his dad was Steve. Is that Shane? Yeah, that's Shane Buechele.
Steve played third base for the Cubs.
For the Cubs, yes. So that's how much I remember of his play. So I end up going against Clayton Tune, and that's why I saw 13. I saw a 13.5 around game time. Awful quarterback play in the last week, but that's what you get. So I don't know. How'd you do overall this week?
I did 1-1. I had the Panthers, which was lucky to cover. They lost by 2. I was catching 3. And then I went against Darnold. I know some sharp guys that said anytime Darnold's in a game like this, I'm going to bet against. And it didn't work out, mostly because the Niners couldn't score. Let's give a lot of credit to Seattle's defense. That game kind of sucked, too, to be perfectly honest. I was really excited going in, and Saturday night was sort of a dud. The one thing I wanted to touch on here, I think we should start with this market, the Offensive Player of the Year. I think you're good on JSN minus 2,000.
Oh,
at DraftKings. Yeah,
damn.
You didn't even know that, did you?
No, I didn't even look because I thought they were going to be pulled down everywhere.
It looks like it's over. JSN minus 2,000, Puka 12, McCaffrey 75, and Bijan Robinson 75. There was a world where Chicken Dinner was going to have one of the two horses, and it looks like it's your guy who you gave out at 50-1 back on BetSweats, of course, on the now defunct BetMGM network, which we're still getting tagged in every Sunday morning.
I had enough. Like, I'm actually leaving the gym. Commitment to Excellence starts right now. And I see that on the phone. I'm like, all right, this is ridiculous. It's every week. I haven't been on the show in a month. I'm like, I've got to tweet them. I got to say something. This is
just
insane.
Stop tagging us. Yeah. That's all. It's a very simple request. We don't work there and we don't host those shows anymore. But JSN minus 2,000. So I'm going to tip my hat to you. Barring something crazy, that's going to be a winner. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Tet McMillan appears to have sealed it at minus 1,000. Okay. Yeah, I know. Henderson's 9-1 at DraftKings.
He had 2 touchdowns today. I was hoping that might help him. Guess not.
DPOY, Myles Garrett minus 20,000, and then Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel minus 400. Mike McDonald 4-1. Here's where things get interesting. I wanted to rip through those because those all have prohibitive favorites. Since you didn't know what happened in the OPOY market, I'm guessing you did not see the favorite flip in the MVP. Matthew Stafford minus 135, Drake May plus 105.
Not surprised by that at all. We were actually texting earlier in the day, and you had mentioned you were with somebody that was holding a May ticket, and that looks good. I was like, let's see what Staffy does. Let's see what Staffy does later today. And yes, May and company wins in a blowout, 38-10 over the Dolphins, but May only had 191 yards. He only had 1 touchdown pass. And then Stafford and his offense put up 37, 4 touchdown passes. One of those performances. I think he was going to have a good chance even before this performance. It's funny. I mean, how much are we overreacting here? It just flips week after week. Oh, Stafford, bad performance. Now May's the favorite. Stafford, good performance. Now Stafford's the favorite. I think it's going to be Matthew Stafford. I don't think that's an overreaction. I was kind of there. I was thinking it was a coin toss going into this week, and this final week might just seal it for them.
I just never felt that Drake May was the MVP of the league. It sort of from afar appeared like he had just backed into it because he didn't do anything wrong. But think about all the dominoes coming into the season, right? Every MVP market mostly starts with Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Burrow. Nope, none of those 4. And then you had Stafford, who had plenty of opportunities, but it's the multiple losses late in season. The loss to the Panthers is a 10-point favorite, right? The loss to the Falcons as a 6 or 7-point favorite, but maybe full redemption at the end. 4 touchdown passes, as you mentioned. And now a literal coin flip, minus 135 on Stafford and May plus 105.
You mentioned Garrett. He's going to win the DPOY again. Breaks the record today. Sack number 23. Separates himself from Strahan and Watt. You think he took a dive?
I don't know. It was ironic, though. Strahan was breaking down the footage of the sack on Fox during one of the breaks in the action today, and they show Strahan watching Garrett break the record, and you could tell he wanted to be like, come on, man. But at the same time, that's what Favre did back in the day. Favre just sort of took a dive and Strahan fell on him. I don't care either way. All I know is that Garrett ends up being the guy that's going to take this award at minus 20,000 or higher. Well-deserved. Every year, people try and take flyers on other guys. This year, it was me with Jonathan Grenard. It all sounded nice at 100, 150 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, every year in this market, you're battling against either TJ Watt or Myles Garrett.
I'm a little embarrassed to tell you how many times I watched it again. Okay, again. Did he see Garrett on the blind side? I think he took a dive. And then I was looking at, okay, there's 5 minutes left in the game. Bengals trailing at that point. It's first down, so it wasn't that big of a loss. It wasn't a big loss on that actual play. I think he did. But it's whatever, man. It's fine, I guess. I wouldn't be that quarterback. I would never want to do that. I saw a lot of people in certain social media circles that follow this sort of thing ripping on the person that took Cincinnati in Circus Survivor, cost themselves millions. The hedging situation, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out exactly what they did. They were the only person to get knocked out. It's real easy when you have the final results. These are people that will come after you when you make a bad pick when you have the final results. Where were you before? Cincinnati closed as a 9-point favorite. I had the Bengals available. I thought about them, and I passed on them to take the Vikings. I have way too much respect for the market, and I wanted to go against Clayton Tune. But I think it's a bunch of bullshit to do that. Oh, it's so obvious. How can you take the Bengals? It's the Browns. You're fading Shedeur Sanders. They're a 9-point favorite in Week 18. And to get to this point, this person goes 20-0, and you're going to dog them for that final week when, I mean, they feel like their life is in shambles probably. When you have a chance to win millions of dollars and it slips through your fingers in the very last pick, they feel bad enough. It's not like they took a field goal favorite or a coin flip game. It's a 9-point favorite here, Sam.
That's supposed to win at the end of the day.
Yes.
You get all the way to the end, all the way down to the ribbon, and you take a team that's supposed to win. Forget cover, win the game. And that's the name of the game in Survivor. Just win. Al Davis, just win, baby. And you get all the way to the very end, and the Bengals is 9-point favorites are the reason you don't cash for thousands or tens of thousands, or in the Circa case, millions of dollars. Just ridiculous. That's such a bad ending if you got all the way to the end and went with what should have been a winner and it doesn't get home. Now, I was curious because you're a Survivor guy and I'm not. It didn't happen to me in Survivor, but I did get a couple texts from people who are in these pick every game pools.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate when this happens. You get all the way to the final week and this person never asks you for help, which, again, I'm okay shooting the breeze and talking strategy every week if we're going to do that. If we do it every week, that's fine. But for some reason this year, I got a couple texts Saturday morning before week 18. And it's, what do I do? And my follow-up is, what do you mean? I need your help. Can you give me your picks for every game? What the fuck? Now I'm picking every game for you? When you are all the way to the end of the line? Like, this guy was 3 points out of a league to win like $7,200. And it's every game ATS. Joe, I hadn't heard from him all year. And now we get to the very last leg of a very long season, and it's, hey, no pressure, but give me all your picks.
You're the expert.
I said to him, buddy, here's what I'll tell you. I bet Carolina, I bet San Francisco, and I might bet Pittsburgh. And he goes, but that's only 3 of the games.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be responsible for you losing on my week 18 picks that I don't even like.
I know. That sucks. You got here. You put yourself in this position to win it. Now go make the picks on your own.
Finish strong. Do your thing. Do what got you here. Don't lean on me, especially when I'm telling you from the get-go, I don't like these games.
Sam, we have a tough time getting a 5. We do these contests where you have to pick 5 games against the spread, and we find that very challenging on a week-to-week basis. Oh, by the way, I asked you by at the start of this, how'd your week go? And then, week 18, not as much confidence as other weeks. Behind the curtain, we are recording during Sunday Night Football. If Pittsburgh covers, this is my only 5-0 week of the year.
Wow. Nice. I didn't put my picks in. I forgot a couple weeks ago.
I saw you didn't. I know.
I
want to thank you. So, at least I was above you.
Well, if anybody did the math, they would see that I haven't put in picks for a while.
Right.
I forgot on the drive back to Chicago from Boston. So this is, 3 Fridays ago. I just forgot. My routine is to sit at my desk on Friday afternoons, finish open the Bulldog, and then make all my picks. But you're in the car for 7 hours on Friday on the way to Bulldog Christmas, and then Saturday on the way to the tailgate. I just forgot. Not that that's an excuse. I wasn't going to win anyways. But that was the worst season I've ever had in the Chicago media contest. Yeah. Can I give you the story that happened a couple weeks ago? We were going to get to it, and then we were taping our show on a Monday night, and the internet went kaput. So I couldn't tell you the story from the Chicago media contest. Mike North, our guy, your guy, was out a point or two, and every pick is worth a point. And this is a pot that's 20 people, $200 a person. I think the grand prize for number one is about $2,200. Yeah. So it's not a little, drop in the bucket. It's a nice chunk of change. Well, North forgets and misses the deadline because there was a Saturday game. And I guess if you missed the Saturday game, you couldn't get him in. I didn't know that. Anyways, North tells BB to get involved.
Oh, no. No. Come on. See, you have not told me this story. I was dying to know. We had internet issues. It was frustrating. Okay. He gets BB involved. How?
BB decides to text the commissioner of the Chicago media contest.
And
say, hey, Brian, I have the text right here. We were having trouble getting online. We couldn't get the picks in. Is there a way we can make them now? Mike redid his original picks and then picked games that haven't started yet. He also likes Appalachian State.
People always, I get these sort of text DMs all the time. Well, why can't I pick games that haven't started yet? Well, because the lock was at 1:00 Eastern. That's why. And now everybody's pick. That's a whole nother thing. Okay, tell me, please continue.
That's basically it. They were trying to negotiate. And look, as the commissioner, I don't know what I would have done. It's easy for me. So if he missed the Saturday games and say this text came in, it looks like Sunday. Oh, no, here's what happened. He missed the Sunday kickoff because this is a Sunday text.
Correct.
So I guess if you miss the noon kickoff on Sunday in the pick 5, you cannot submit anything. So even if there's 5 afternoon games and a Sunday night game, no dice. So North missed the Sunday deadline, and he wanted the 4 games that were left and Appalachian State.
No, come on. You can't.
And Vito said, look, I'm sorry, like that. That's not the way it works. He's had several people have several people had this happen, and he gave them the same response. So it doesn't matter whether it's week 2 or week 16 or 17, you got to make the deadline. And this is something that happens in Circa every week. It feels like early in the season.
Yep.
You get to that Survivor, you spend $1,000 an entry, it gets to the weekend, and then 10 people don't send in a pick.
I'm realizing this now, and it kind of relates. So we were going over the Survivor. My original one, the bigger one, this one was for $75K. It had 1,729 entries to start. There were 5 left going into the week. 3 Minnesota, 1 Jacksonville, 1 Cincinnati. I just realized who had Cincinnati. I've not talked to this person. I'm assuming it's the same one based on the username. The username is D Burke. I believe that's Danny Burke. Yeah. I didn't want to reach out. Because, I mean, what do you say at that point? And I checked his tweets. There's a lot on Player Props. He had a lot of tweets about that game. I'll just say that. So I think it is him.
Damn, that's so unfortunate. I saw some people make some pretty big hedges this week. There was a guy who was alive in Circa who decided that they were going to go Vikings, but then take 700,000 and bet the Packer money line. Sort of a nice way to, hedge. So instead of the 3.7 million, this person wins 3 million on the 700K hedge on Green Bay money line, which would have paid, can't remember how much it was. Benson tweeted about it. Here we go. Biggest Circa Survivor hedge we've ever taken. 700,000 on the Packers money line at plus 355 to win 2.5 million. The person also bet 10,000 on a tie at 60-1. So the Vikings win. This person gets a share of the pot, but instead of the 3.7, they get the 3 million flat after the $700,000 hedge.
Yeah, if you're going to hedge, then you got to do the tie too. And not a lot of places offer that because you could lose on a tie. That sucks. It feels like wasted money, but it's something that you have to do to cover all of your bases. Oh, man. That's brutal, man. That's brutal. You want to talk about these playoff matchups we got? We've been waiting for so long. We finally got them. It's a couple of the main books put numbers out there, but I don't know how much they're going to change. They might a little bit. I was laughing because FanDuel posts right away the Bears as a 1.5 point favorite. Then DK posts the Packers as a 1.5 point favorite. I'm sure that game's going to be somewhere around 0 all week, Sam.
Yeah, we'll see the odds come up. We can show you what we're kind of looking at right now. So this is DraftKings. If you're watching visually, they have spreads, totals, and money lines up on most of the games. And then where Joe and I live is Odds Logic. So I'm going to share my screen here and go over to Odds Logic. Here are all the college football playoff games, and then there's the FCS game. All of these blank boxes are NFL games. But because they haven't decided the schedule, Vegas can't put odds up because Vegas doesn't know what the rotation numbers are. That's the one benefit that DraftKings and FanDuel have, and BetMGM as well, and Caesars. Mm-hmm. These American books that don't rely on rotation numbers, they can just throw up numbers, and there's no hesitancy. There's no wait. You don't have to be patient. The guys in Vegas are ready to go. They just don't know what games are slotted where, so they can't put these numbers up yet. So back to the DraftKings, Bills minus 1.5 at Jacksonville. They've got Chicago minus 1.5, which makes sense. I think the Bears should be favored against Green Bay. Rams minus 10 at Carolina. And then scrolling down the board, Niners getting 3 at Philly. So Philly favored by a field goal at home. And then the Patriots home against the Chargers. New England minus 3.5. What jumps out?
First, let's talk about Bears-Packers. So Ben Johnson goes for the 2 seed. Nick Sirianni doesn't care about the 2 seed. That is fascinating. And based on these results, like someone's going to get torched, right? Especially if it would have helped if the 2 faces the 3 and then Philadelphia ends up being on the road. Like based on all these results that we end up going, I think it's going to be very interesting. But you had Tanner McKee playing quarterback for the Eagles, and the Bears were going for it, and the Lions were going for it. Even though the game was meaningless to them, they were trying very hard to win and to hurt the competition, to hurt a division rival. And there was a lot of chatter all week about Bears getting revenge there. This is going to be really interesting. Bears-Packers, they've played twice recently. A lot of times you look at, okay, division team, you play twice, and then you got a game from week 3, week 4. Who cares? It's like a completely different season at this point. But both of these games were recent. And remember the game in Green Bay that the Packers won. Packers dominated the first half. Caleb Williams was terrible. And then in the second half, the Bears dominated. Caleb Williams was great, but the Bears didn't score enough. It was too little too late to win that game. And then in that miraculous comeback, Bears are down 10 points with 2 minutes to go at Soldier Field a few weeks ago. They somehow end up winning that game. Packers were the better team throughout much of that game. So you get why they're there at a coin flip. I think it's going to be fascinating, and home field could end up being a difference maker here. But the Bears lose their last 2 games going into the playoffs here. A defense is rough, man. And you saw it on Sunday against the Lions. You saw it the previous Sunday night against the Niners. If you're looking at those defenses, even though they don't have Parsons for the Packers, the injury report's going to be big. That Bears defense is a problem in the negative sense. And what's the total at now? We are in the upper 40s, 47.5, it looks like.
Yep.
Yeah. I know it's divisional matchup, third time. People expect lower scoring games. I don't know about that one.
Let me just give people an idea of bad betting habits. So you can lay 1.5 with Chicago at plus 102. Okay. Why would you do that, though, when you can just take the Bears money line at minus 110? That's a no-brainer to me if you're going to take Chicago. I know that these games, mostly don't land 1, but if this does land 17-16 and you're laying 1.5, you're going to hate yourself. I can't lay 1.5. I just can't fundamentally. So rather than lay the 1.5 at plus 102, now some math guys would say, oh, we'll take the plus money. Okay, fine. I'm going to take the Bears just to win the game at minus 110 if I'm on Chicago. But let me be very honest with you. I see the Bears favored in the playoff game, and I think
in Caleb Williams' first playoff game.
I don't know. I would love for them to be catching 2 in the game, 2.5. Then you could do other things with that. You could take a money line play at a nice price. You could tease up through 7. I fully believe the Bears could beat anybody and also lose to anybody in the NFC. If that's the case, though, I don't want to be laying points with them.
Mm-hmm. On the NFC side, as long as we're talking that right now, let's talk about Rams-Panthers. One's book at this moment is 10. There's a 10.5 out there as well. We saw this game not too long ago, and it was Carolina in a surprise, 31-28. In that game, turnover differential was massive. Stafford had 3 turnovers, threw 2 picks, lost a fumble as well. But if you dive into that box score, you'll also see that the Rams only had 1 penalty for 5 yards in that game. I'm getting 10.5 at home. Yeah, it's going to be hard for me not to be on Carolina, Sam.
I understand it for sure. I don't know that I'm going to play that game. Not that I'm excited to lay 10 on the road. I just know what happens if the Rams play an A game and the Panthers don't. Mm-hmm. It's a blowout, but we could make that case for really any of the favorites. I mean, if any of the favorites play their A game, they're probably going to win. I will definitely be on Buffalo. I'll be laying the point and a half. I see the Bills 1.5 at DraftKings. There's another book that has a juiced 1 minus 115. I'll be on them. I will add more to my position. Of course, I have Buffalo to win the Super Bowl, which I really need them to get to the Super Bowl, and then I can do what I want. I was pulling up the odds. Here's FanDuel's Super Bowl title odds. So Seattle now favored at FanDuel plus 450. Rams 460, Broncos 7, Eagles 9, Patriots 10. The Bills back up to double digits. There's a 10 at FanDuel. Other books have 11-1. I may have to make a ride in the next couple of days and bet some more. I might have to.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at that. What's the highest number you've seen the Bills this year? Because you are checking it on a weekly basis, and
12?
many weeks 12. So we're basically where we're at.
Yeah, right? Because they have to go on the road every game. They will not play there's a chance that they can play the 7. I don't think that's going to happen because Houston gets the 5, Buffalo gets the 6, and then the Bolts get the 7. The only way the Bills will be at home is if they play the Chargers, and I don't think that's going to happen. So that's why the price is not great. I'm really curious, though, if Allen completes that 2-point conversion, are we having a Josh Allen MVP conversation? Are we having a Bills, legit conversation? Are the Bills hosting a playoff game? Are the Bills, maybe probably not going to beat the Patriots for the division, but that 10-1, 11-1 seems directly correlated with the Bills going for 2 and not getting it. Obviously, the math would be different if they did get it.
Yeah, and then, okay, even if they don't win the division, now you're playing the 4. Okay. That's a much softer matchup than a Jaguars team that has won 8 consecutive games. And see, I was kind of thinking about that with this specific point spread. Well, what if Jacksonville doesn't win 8 in a row? What is this point spread? Let's say they're 6-2 in those last 8 games. And you want to give them all the credit in the world, but remember during that 8-game win streak, Chargers without Herbert, Arizona, Tennessee, Indianapolis, New York Jets, Broncos, tough one, Colts, Titans. A lot of bad teams. But yeah, what's that point spread if it's not an 8-game win streak? But of the 6 games, I have a lot of leans. Again, these are initial thoughts, but I did circle Buffalo right away. I'm right there with you. 1.5, yeah. I'm all over that. I don't care that they're on the road. Doesn't impact me in any way. I think there are some really interesting coaching matchups, like Shanahan against Sirianni, Shanahan on offense against Vic Fangio on defense. That's interesting. 3.5. Philadelphia, the home favorite. And Harbaugh versus Vrabel.
Yeah.
Vrabel laying 3.5. We're getting Harbaugh as a 3.5-point dog. Herbert gets the week to rest. Obviously, the offensive line, a big concern. You follow this Patriots team closely. What do you think of their pass rush?
It's okay. Obviously, it should be better against the Chargers O-line that's been searching for answers all season. But, there's a gaggle of pros that wait for this all year. They wait for these young teams with rookie quarterbacks to get into the playoffs, and then they short. They bet against. So, not that Drake May is a rookie, but he's a playoff rookie. That's what I was getting at. When you have a quarterback making his first ever playoff start, you're going to see people bet against. It happened last year when wise guys bet against Bo Nix and the Broncos. It'll happen this year. People are going to bet against May. They're going to bet against Caleb, which we alluded to earlier. Harbaugh and Herbert catching north of a field goal feels like a bet that we are going to make together. It just feels like it's going to happen.
Okay, so you got Caleb, May, Trevor Lawrence, or has he started a playoff game?
He's been in the playoffs. That was the game that they were down 27-0, right? And then came back and won. Or was it the other way? Either way.
Bryce Young, too.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and that's a monster number. So you're going to pay the piper if you want to make that fade. And yeah, Bo Nix, this will be interesting. People are going to bet against Darnold until he proves it in the playoffs. That's just what's going to happen, but we're going to have to wait another week on that one. Let's circle back to futures, and people that have been with Chicken Dinner throughout probably know what your answer is going to be. And it was cool getting a lot of messages when dealing with the travel and stuff. When we missed a show, people are like, we're having Chicken Dinner withdrawal. So these shows are going to be more frequent. Let's just say that. And we're going to be looking at expanding this week. A lot of fun things planned. But Seattle, the favorite. The Rams, the second favorite. That's not a surprise. We've seen that. We've seen the NFC teams at the top, and Philadelphia cracks the top 4. So 3 of top 4 in the Super Bowl odds are NFC teams. But I'm with you. So, I mean, I'm looking on the AFC side, looking from the Buffalo perspective, there's nobody I'm scared of, and things are pretty much up for grabs. I think anything can happen over on that tough NFC side, but would I take New England over Buffalo? Would I take Jacksonville, Houston? The answer is no, no, no. And even though they get to advance a week and rest up with that great defense in Denver, you trust Bo Nix in the playoffs? Not until he shows me something. So I understand why you've continued to add with Buffalo, and I'm looking at it. I have not done anything with Buffalo, but I kind of feel relieved that I can jump in right now and get the same number that you have on a lot of your wagers.
You can get a better number. Most of my bets, I have 6 of them now. Yes, I checked before the show. So 6 different entry points on the Bills to win the Super Bowl. And anybody that hasn't gotten in can now take a piece of them at 11-1. The only bet I have greater than 11 is the one that I made about a month ago at 12-1. So all the other pops are 7.25, 750, 8-1, 850, 9-1. And then I have the 12-1, which was at the peak. I finally said, all right, I'm betting the 12. I've hovered long enough. I'm in. And now you can bet, like I said, 10-1 at FanDuel, 11-1 in a couple of other books. To me, I don't know who's coming out of the NFC, and I don't think the books really do either. I mean, they have Seattle favored. They're favored, of course, because they're the one. Then you got the Rams, 20 cents, better, 430 and 450 on Seattle and LA. Eagles 9, and then you go down nowhere to win the whole thing, 18-1 on Green Bay, 19-1 Chicago. They're basically saying it's Seattle, LA, or Philly. I would take Philly. I think we were going to have this conversation a week ago. I would be betting Philly at that price. Not that I like Philly the most, but I'm betting them at 9-1 before I'm betting Seattle at 430.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know in the comments what you're thinking. If you're going to do something in the futures market, what do you think? And we will have at least one show, the two of us, later on this week. And we've got some other things planned that you'll find the Chicken Dinner feed, podcasts, podcatcher of your choice, Spotify. Appreciate all those ratings and reviews. If you're watching on YouTube, hit like, comment, anything you want to react to, what we're saying, please do so. There's always a conversation with other people that dig Chicken Dinner over there in the comments. So be a part of that. We'd love to see the feedback. We read all of it. We like many of the comments to make sure that you see that we saw it. And sometimes we jump in on the conversation later on. Before we jump to college football, and I think there's a couple NFL things we can hit on before we get to best bets. Anything else that we need to hit from week 18, this playoff picture, current point spreads, anything else that we have not hit on yet?
No, just that you never want to get crazy and burn your tickets or light your tickets or cash out for the minimum. A lot of these win totals, not a lot, a nice handful of win totals were decided this weekend. And if I really wanted to, I could have been a dumbass and taken my Vikings over 8.5 paper ticket and thrown it in the toilet and flushed it or burned it at the stake. You just never know until it's finally over. And I don't want to say that there were some award markets that maybe came down to today, because a lot of them have been basically guided down the stretch to where you had a good idea of who was going to win which award. But I could have very easily a month ago just taken that Vikings ticket and flushed it. And I didn't. I could have done it out of rage or anger or whatever. And I did. So just know that it's never really over until it's over.
With that said, I saw some other results that came in on the win total in week 18. Most were decided, but there were a handful of games. Cleveland wins. Sorry if you had the Bengals in Survivor. They get the field goal as time expires. They go over the win total. Over 4.5 wins for the Cleveland Browns. And we have some L's that hit the under. Dallas, Philly, Miami. How about that, Sam? You have a Philly over 11.5 wins ticket, and you got to win with Tanner McKee. You've got Dallas over 7.5. They had a tie earlier in the year. It comes down to the last week against the Giants, and Dak sits the second half. That sucks.
The Philly one stinks because they were legit playing for the 2 seed. If they take care of business and start Jalen Hurts, they probably win that game. But look, Sirianni's been there before. They just won a Super Bowl. They know how to win on the road. I think for Philly, it was mostly about being healthy. And you didn't want any of those offensive linemen to get banged up today. So they clearly have bigger fish to fry. But we're talking about a number that I thought would have been north of 7. But then the Eagles come out and say, all right, all these guys aren't playing. And the point spread's going to be 3, 3.5, 4. And then the Commanders are going to win outright. That's because the Eagles weren't trying. If you would have gotten through that thriller last weekend where the Eagles survive against Buffalo, this one should have been a layup to beat Washington. But again, it's never over till it's over.
Yeah, you're right. But I keep going back to the playoff thing. All you had to do was win. The Bears lost against the Lions, divisional matchup, close game. The offense wasn't doing much throughout. It's 16-0 in the fourth quarter. Oh, Caleb doing the Caleb thing again. It's 16-16. Lions get a last-second field goal. they're going to be killing them on WIP tomorrow because they're thinking, what if we play the Bears? Now we have to go to Soldier Field. We could have had them at the link, but Sirianni didn't care about it. I think that is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
It will be for sure, but deep down, the Eagles know that they would beat the Bears. I
agree.
I saw Frankie O.
Hey.
So I got my bill the other day at Harry Carey's. I've kept my wallet very close just in case this came up. So he gives me my bill at Harry Carey's, and I'm going to show you, and hopefully you can see it so you can read it. This is the receipt I got at Harry Carey's. Can you see the score right there that he put?
Eagles 27, Bears 20.
That's his prediction for the NFC playoffs.
Wait, he's got the Bears winning against the Packers then.
Well, this was just for a hypothetical matchup. At the time, it looked like it was going to be Philly at Chicago, and that's what will happen if it does, in fact, become the matchup. The Philadelphia Eagles would go to Chicago. But I got my bill, and the bill, like the itemized bill, says 1 Eagles 27, Bears 20.
It's part of the bill.
Yeah,
did you pick up on it right away?
I did right away. Well, because he was laughing. He always takes good care of me. And he goes, "Did you see the receipt?" And I did. I signed the tab and I saw the bill, but I didn't look at the itemized list. So Eagles 27, Bears 20 via our friend Frankie O, who's a lifetime Philly guy.
Speaking of getting the check at the end of the night, went out to dinner with friends last night. Just again, an embarrassing moment for an aging man. I had no idea what it said. I couldn't read it.
Come on,
dude. It's bad. And am I going to pull out the light on the phone in front of everybody?
Yes.
I started to, and then I just handed it to my wife. I'm like, you fill this out. Like in front of everybody. Like, I can't see a damn thing. So the wife of the couple we were with was like, he can't read either. That's why I filled it out. But I mean, it is small. It is dimly lit, but I'll be real, man. I can't see a damn thing. I had LASIK a few years ago, and now we're here. I need to just bite the bullet and get the cheaters. But what you wear is not cheaters, right?
No, I need to see far. I can see close. I can read the Frankie O receipt. I can't see far. But I did. I don't know if I ever told you my LASIK story when I got myself free LASIK. Have I brought this up to you before?
No.
So I was calling play-by-play at UIC. I was doing basketball and baseball, and that was when I really had to start wearing my glasses. I hated wearing them because I just thought they looked stupid.
Same.
But then I got over it when I turned 30 or whatever. I'm like, who cares? You need them. So I used to go out and not wear glasses and then not be able to see. So anyways, I decided that I was going to go to the sales team at WGN. I was doing the weekend updates and I was calling play-by-play. So I thought it would be a perfect, what do they call that? A perfect campaign for me to get LASIK and then rave about it on the radio. Like, come on. It's easy. Now I can see the games better than ever before.
Yes.
So I found a doctor or a clinic that was on board. I did this all by myself. And the sales team said, whatever you get, bring to us and we'll cross the T's and dot the I's. So I found a doctor who said, oh yeah, this is great. This sounds awesome. Let's work with your sales team. We get all the way to the end and I go in for my consultation and the doctor's got me in the room. The lights are off. They're checking all the different eye tests and going through pressures and, shooting air at your eyes and all that. And finally, at the end of the appointment or the consultation, the doctor comes in and says, I'm so sorry to break this. You're not a candidate for LASIK.
Oh,
I almost put him in the last ride, Razor Ramon, Razor's Edge. Like, I was so pissed. I'm like, I did all this work. And then because of one of my eyes, something in one of my eyes, I was not a candidate because they didn't want to shoot lasers into my eyes because of something. It wasn't astigmatism, but it was something like that. So I got all the way to the goal line. And then the doctor put me in shotgun at the 5. It said, you're not getting in.
Well, look at me. I got it done not that long ago, and now I can't see as good as I used to. Now I'm having issues, Oh man, when they dilate your pupils, that's brutal. I remember trying to drive home that day. Like it was rough. It was a rough one, but we eventually landed the plane and got home on that one. But yeah, I feel you on the glasses. You get sick of it and then you end up back with glasses anyways. So
You're going to have bifocals one day. I can't wait.
dude, well, I know staring at screens all day, every day. Now it's a little bit different. Don't have 3-hour shows every single day, 6 days a week during the football season, and staring at a ring light. Like maybe that'll help things a little bit. Let's talk some college football, man. Talk quarterfinals before we get to the semis and these numbers, close numbers on both games. Dogs did it again. Quarterfinals weekend. And the Dogs did it again. They go 3-1 straight up, 3-1 against the spread. They changed things. It wasn't supposed to happen this way. Once again, Sam, some of the games were highly entertaining. Some were not. Where do you want to begin?
Paul, this Kalen DeBoer, Paul. He ain't going to cut it, Paul. He's got to go. The farther away we get from Saban's retirement, the more it makes sense. He saw this coming.
Yeah.
He saw the tower getting crowded. He saw other people climbing the tower. Everybody found the answer to beat Alabama. And Michigan was very physical against Alabama in that playoff game a couple of years ago. That was the year Michigan won the whole thing. It was bully ball in the trenches. And you're watching that game thinking, this isn't a Saban team. Well, now it's different because everybody can pay players. And I don't remember. And when's the last time you saw Alabama get pushed around like that? 20 years ago in the trenches? O-line, D-line. And you notice that day of the game, that thing started getting pushed. You know, it was 7, then it was 7.5. And people were walking into sports books and logging into their phones. And I was out New Year's Day with some friends. Oh, that's too many points for Bama. Like, just be careful. Like, people just see the brand and the spread and think attack. They got freaking dominated in the trenches. And it makes it even more funny because it's Indiana, right? It doesn't matter really who it is. We liked it because we talked about Indiana on this show and laying the points and laying 6.5 or 7. And then day of the game, like I said, it's 7.5. I was getting shredded on social media, on Instagram mostly, on the Fox videos, because I was like, here's what they want you to do. They want you to take Alabama. They want you to take the points. They want you to think you got a deal. And for 10 days, it's you Midwestern mouth breathing piece of shit. You know, like they just saying the most raunchy stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
And fat face retard and all, like everything. You name it, they said it. I enjoyed that game so much. So much. And then Alabama brings out the field goal team to kick the field goal. What a field. Good. Dominated in every sense of the term. Indiana whooped that ass, and I loved it.
They're soft now. They can't run the ball. That was the bread and butter back in the day during Saban's run. Now they can't do it at all. You're right. That was the most dominating performance, even more than Oregon and Texas Tech. And you could make an argument there. How about that? Oregon is a short dog, and they win outright. Dan Lanning had a lot of interesting things to say after the game that we can address, and he doesn't like this setup, and I think he nailed a lot of things. But talking about these games, I can tell that you loved that one so much because you started there. When I asked the question, I would have made it minus 300. You were going to start with Miami. This is the team that we've spent so much time talking about, that you've had a lot on the line. And when they get backed in the corner, when everybody's trashing them, you know, we talked about the whole playoff thing, but like, hey, this is why they're good. Look, you had a great pick on them. We never said Ohio State was going to cover. I don't know about you, but after the fact, I find myself, even though we bet Miami, we talked about Miami, it was never a case of taking the Buckeyes. I was like, why didn't we take money line? because we didn't see Ohio State get manhandled like that all year? Like, why did we not see this? Because when you look at that matchup, there's no doubt the Canes dominate the trenches. That's when they win, that's always a path to victory for them. And when you look at the weaknesses on the Buckeye side, you've got Sayin, inexperienced, and you've got a weak offensive line. Like, we should have seen them dominating up front. And then when that pick six happens, it felt like the game was over.
If you can't run the ball in college, you can't win. And that happened to a handful of teams in the quarters. Happened to Bama, happened to Ohio State, happened to Texas Tech. If you can't run and these defenses constantly have you in 3rd and long, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 or longer, you got no shot. I started with Alabama, Indiana because I knew the way that I felt about Bama was right. And it kind of got spit back in my face when Oklahoma went up 17-0 and then Alabama erased the lead and won the game. And I got a lot of that. Yeah, you got to play 4 quarters, boy. And I'm like, this team is going to get smoked eventually. I didn't know when it was going to happen. I was hopeful that it would happen ASAP. So that was sort of a double dip for me. That's why it felt personal, because everybody with a cursive A tattooed into their chest was just barking. I didn't think Miami was going to win, though. I didn't. That is now, I know it's not a big sample size, 2 years, so 8 quarterfinal games. The underdog is 7-1 straight up in 8 games. Yeah, 7-1. So you obviously have to look and think long and hard about that going into next year, unless they change the format, which I don't even know if they can do in such a short period of time. But how do you not consider the team that just played catching points until we find out that this is not a thing?
That layoff, man. You think it's good, you get the bye. Is it? Indiana's the only team off a bye in the 2 years of the playoff that has won that quarterfinal matchup. That's it. Last year was Oregon, Georgia, Boise, Arizona State, all going down. Those top 4 seeds, 1 and 7, straight up in 2 years. I mean, you're looking at these 25 days for Ohio State, 26 days for Texas Tech. That is an incredible layoff. Maybe it's a bad thing. Maybe that's what we're learning. Getting that bye is not all it's cooked up to be. And Dan Lanning was talking about this. They're trying to serve 2 different purposes. Let's have bowl season. Let's also have you can't do both. And I think he's spot on. We'll get there eventually, but okay, let me ask you. You have a better chance than me. How many non-playoff bowl games have you watched?
Oh, geez.
I know my answer. It's a big fat 0.
I was going to say 2 or 3. I used to watch every game. Not every game, but I used to at least be aware of what was going on. There were games that I thought were on tomorrow that were on yesterday. If that makes sense, you know? Yeah. And I didn't even know I did that shift on the score on Tuesday, the 30th. I had no idea Illinois was playing Tennessee, and I went to Illinois.
That's your team.
Day of the game, I'm like, oh, Illinois is playing today. And that game got shoved, by the way. They bet Illinois all the way down to 2.5, and Illinois beats Tennessee. But I did not watch a lot of football on break for obvious reasons. You and I have had, we've also been locked in, and it's like, why are we going to waste our free time? We're going to have a ton of free time here through Christmas and through New Year's, and then we're going to jump into chicken dinner and have to be right back in the mix. I didn't watch a lot of football. I watched the second half of the Bears game today, and that's it. Just didn't care. I didn't have any bets. I watched the games yesterday, and somehow Carolina covered, which I was very happy about. And then I watched Brock Purdy stink on Saturday night, but I watched 2 quarters of football today. That's it.
Okay, I mentioned that we are recording Sunday night during the Sunday night game. They just put the schedule up. Bears, Packers, Saturday night on Prime. What the fuck, man? Really? I thought that was locked in. That's going to be the 3:30 Central Time or Sunday night football game on NBC for sure. But they end up going Saturday night. Okay.
Who's playing Sunday night?
Let me
Did they
scroll
say?
back. Yeah, they said
Rewind.
it just popped up. So, okay, Saturday afternoon on Fox, Rams at Panthers. Saturday night, Packers Bears. 2 NFC games on Saturday. I think I saw someone talking about it. I think it's a rule that the Saturday games have to be at the same conference, but I don't have that confirmed. Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS, Bills Jags. Sunday afternoon on Fox, Niners Eagles. Sunday night, Patriots Chargers. The Monday night game is the Texans game.
I'll be at Yacht Rock Sunday night. Got tickets for Yacht Rock.
Oh,
so
wow.
I won't be able to see Patriots. Now I'll be able to get close to the stage because a lot of people will be home to watch the Patriots. So Patriots play Sunday night, huh? Interesting.
Man. Okay, so what
time did the Bills win on Sunday?
When is it over? Let's go. Is it going to be a close game, you think?
I'm actually terrified that Trevor Lawrence throws for 3 touchdown passes. I'm just trying to act cool on the show.
I know. You're terrified. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm all right.
I am. I'm a little nervous that I'm going to get Duval.
I am very relieved because our first winter practice is Saturday, 4 to 6 Central.
Winter practice for what?
Dude, I know. Teams have already started. I'm like,
started what? What sport?
Baseball.
Come on. When does the season start? Are you out of your mind?
I don't want to do it. It's what everybody does. Like, oh,
you blew it. You should have just got foot surgery this week. You screwed yourself.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. No, because in a month we're going to Mexico. That was decided today.
For what? For the team or the family?
No, us.
Okay.
As our family. Like, okay, let's go right after the Super Bowl.
That's fair.
Why not?
Well, you were talking about the team. I thought you were going to take your team
right.
on some ragtag mission to Michigan. Michigan, Mexico, Venezuela, same thing. Whatever.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you're not taking the baseball team to Mexico. You're taking the family to Mexico.
Actual vacation because it's after the Super Bowl, and why the hell not? Let's enjoy it. And it's like it's a week like around President's Day. They've got a Friday off and a Monday off, so they won't miss that many days.
Wow, you're gonna miss the President's Day episode of Chicken Dinner. Wow,
is there gonna be one?
Probably.
Let's talk baseball futures. No.
So we'll get
college hoops.
We'll get somebody to fill in for you.
You might be going on. You're not taking any time off after football? You're not going somewhere?
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to save a little bit of that severance.
Yeah, I know. Oh, are you gonna get it? Oh, okay.
Got invited to a wedding. I love that we're in this part of my life where I get invited to weddings that are in different countries. And I just
you nuts.
Which country? This one, Dominican, I think. I just said no right away. Nope, ain't happening.
It's a no-go.
Ain't happening. Nope, not happening.
You can make it your vacation.
$4,000 to go to your wedding. Nope.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Nope.
All right, semifinals. Well, you know what? I do have to say quickly, because it was the best game of the 4. Dude, Ole Miss, Georgia, off the charts. I just kept thinking of Berman and SVP watching Chambliss play. Everything goes whoop, whoop, spinning in circles. Like, that was so fun to watch that game. It didn't hurt that I had the over in the game, but Ole Miss, a win there. What a story that is. The Blue Bloods, you hit it on Ohio State and Alabama, and don't forget Georgia. Quarterfinals, all of them boosted out.
My dad called me on the first. We talk a good amount,
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, he goes, and he doesn't even watch college football anymore. He used to, and he used to gamble and all that. He goes, I don't know what it is. I love Ole Miss. And I'm like, why? He goes, I don't know. I just do. I love them. Yeah. And the next morning, I called him, and he goes, Ole Miss, Ole Miss. He didn't even bet it. He doesn't have a bookie anymore.
Uh-huh.
He could get Hard Rock Bet in Florida,
Okay.
but he wanted to call his shot, and he drilled it. See, it was crazy because that was the end of my day. Obviously, that was the third game on New Year's Day. And a lot of things got cloudy because there were shots flying all day. I got to the bar at 11 o'clock. Your guy, Jay Kassan, showed up, guns blazing, on fire. So at the end of the Indiana game, it was time to go. And Jake's like, what are we doing for the third game? Let's go to Murphy's. Or like, I'm like, I'm not going downtown. It's not happening. But I remember watching the first half and being like, oh, Georgia's in control. And then you flip it on in the third quarter, fourth quarter, and you're like, oh, Georgia's not in control. Did that game flip? Did I miss something? Because I didn't watch it as closely as I did the first two games.
Well, okay, so the assumption was, but I think a lot of people watching it, oh, okay, Georgia's going to do what Georgia does, right? Kirby's going to shut them down. And that just never happened. And Ole Miss had some drives that people were not expecting because we're not used to seeing that. Like eventually Georgia takes control and it looked like that was starting to happen. And then the fourth quarter was just bananas. And, Chambliss is going to get a lot of love and he certainly deserves it, but they have an all-world kicker too, man. He had a 55-yarder to start the game, 56-yarder, and then the game-winning kick was a no-doubter. And then get the safety at the end. That's how you get the 5-point win. But yeah, it did start to look like Georgia was going to take over, and I'm sure people were hitting them hard in the live market. But no, Ole Miss, man, that was a really fun game. And yeah, what did he end up with? 362 passing yards. Like, it was a remarkable performance. And hey, I know he called the shot and would have gotten a better number before. They're the long shot. They're 6-1 right now in this group. Obviously, Indiana's the favorite. They should be the favorite. Like they look like they're the best team, and I think there's like a little bit of a gap. I don't know that you would have said that a week ago.
No, here we go with the odds as we also start to see some population on the NFL sides and totals. But two games left, of course. One is on Thursday, one is on Friday, and we will be sure to break these down later on in the week. Miami got bet at 3. It was 3 basically everywhere, and now we're 3.5 everywhere. Mm-hmm. So some early Canes money. I honestly don't think it's going to stop. I could be wrong here. But the way that they bet Miami last week, I was surprised. Day of the game, that got blasted, Joe. I mean, 9 and 9.5, and then just one way the other way. 9.5 to 9 to 8.5 to 8 to 7.5 day of the game. When a team gets bet like that and then wins handily, usually that money continues in the following game. So I was not surprised 2.5 to 3. I'm not surprised 3 to 3.5. I don't think it's going to stop. I think we get to 4, at which point you might finally get some Ole Miss money, but not a surprise at all. 3 to 3.5 last couple days or so. And money coming in on the over too, 51 to 52.
And that's where we're at in Indiana, Oregon. Indiana, a 4-point favorite. Totally shorter there as it should be, sitting at 47. So the way I read it, when you look at these numbers, when you look at the title odds, is the betting market is saying the winner of Indiana, Oregon is going to win the championship. Because you've got Miami as a 3.5, maybe a 4-point favorite, and most books have them as the third favorite. It's close, but they're like, look, Indiana, Oregon, a cut above. They're thinking we're going to have a Big Ten champ.
I might take Oregon. I got to see a couple of things. No, not to win it. I don't know that I'm going to play any titles, at least at this point. I mean, you're not going to get a fair shake. There's only 4 teams left. I meant more so like I look at this game. There's a 4.5 right now at FanDuel. I can get 4.5 with Oregon. I got to lay $1.15, but every book is 4, and it looks like we are potentially on the way to 4.5. I would be intrigued by taking the points with Oregon. And again, I just bet Indiana and bet them well in the last game. I'm an Indiana guy more than most. I don't want to lay 4.5 here on a neutral. I just don't. My numbers have them. Let's see. I can tell you exactly where I'm at. I want to say I'm Indiana 2 points better. So I make the game 2, not 4.5.
Before we get to best bets, how many times did you have White Castle when you were home?
Only twice, but the second one didn't really count. It was sort of an appetizer. I just stopped in for a few doubles. The first time we ended up ordering the crave case, as one does when in Rome. You and your buddies get together and you get a 30 rack. The last one was a sort of hit and run. So how many times did I get it? Twice. How many times did I really get it? Once.
My family has been mad at me all week. Really mad. Like really, really mad. Because New Year's Eve party, somebody brings a crave case, drunk, can't help myself. Let's go back. Continue the grazing. Dude, I've been farting up a storm. It was over 48 hours.
Oh.
Like it is. And the smell is so much worse. It's so bad.
You got to train that.
I was like, I'm never doing it again. But I know when they're there. I don't know that I'm going through the drive-thru, but when they're there, I'm too weak. I can't pass those sliders up, even knowing what it's going to do to my stomach.
Never. I'm also primed. Like my stomach was ready for all that. I made a list. I brought this up on a different show last week. I wrote down everything I had for dinner for about 12 days. I'll be quick here. Uh-huh. So Friday, December 19th, I had 20 hot wings in Buffalo by myself. 20.
That's easy.
Saturday, we hit the Bears tailgate, which has been chronicled. There's all kinds of food there. There's pizza, there's Philly cheesesteak, there's pasta, there's cacio e pepe, all the shots, all that. Sunday, I smoked barbecue ribs. Monday, I had thin crust pizza at WGN Radio. And then for dinner, had a ribeye and a twice-baked potato. Tuesday, Cajun chicken and mango guac, and then followed up by a drunken thin crust pizza order on Tuesday after having pizza on Monday. Wednesday, I had chicken thighs, ham, and Puerto Rican rice for dinner. Thursday, 2 Christmas dinners, which we talked about, Italian Christmas and then Thanksgiving Christmas.
Yep.
And then Friday, after all that, I'm like, all right, I need a break. Lasagna and garlic bread. Followed by prime rib on Saturday. Just absolute chaos to my entire body. I don't know how I didn't gain twice the weight, honestly. Have no idea how that's possible.
You said the number was 7, right?
7. Yeah, I walked out at 217 and I stepped on at 224. I thought I was going to be at least 230.
All right, I'm going to weigh in Monday morning. I think I've got to go over 7 of the last couple of weeks.
I would have, if you would have given me the number 6.5, I would have bet maybe not the full severance check. I would have pounded over 6.5 though. I mean, it would have been a Steve Fezzik 50-star bomb, you know?
Yeah.
Like when there's a 17-point favorite at home on a Friday night and they lose outright. That would have been my bet on over 6.5 pounds gained. I'm telling you, you got it. And this is the issue that you had because you said you just grazed all day. I didn't eat until I gave you a couple examples of when I had 2 meals in a day, but I tried to cut it to just 1 graze. And then everything else was just agua, water, pow, pow, pow.
Good move. Good move. All right, let's wrap with our best bets. Where do you want to go? We are going to have, we don't have an official schedule. It's weird. Things are moving around. Like next week, there's going to be a Monday playoff game. So we were debating, do we do a Sunday night show or a Monday night show? So things are moving around a little bit. Hopefully soon, we're going to have a set schedule on a weekly basis. But the first semifinal game is Thursday, the second one on Friday. So we are going to have another show before these 2 semis and before the wild card round.
I would think it'd be best. I know there's a playoff game on Thursday, but I don't know that I'm going to be able, because I'm going to be in New York Monday and Tuesday, and then I come back Wednesday. Maybe we can do a Wednesday night, but that's the fight that you really have to, go to war with. Like, do we really want to rush into a show because there's a game on Thursday? Or do we want to see another day full of information and then do the show on Thursday to have it up by Friday morning? So we'll hammer that out. The playoff schedules are weird. We got college games Thursday and Friday. We got pro games on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So I would just assume have a show up Friday morning that hits on Oregon, Indiana, and then all the NFL games, but we'll see. We'll work this out off the set. I know that a lot of people have already tailed me on Buffalo. I think this bet right here, Buffalo -1, -15 is a good bet. Even though I have a bunch of Bills playoff stock, I would bet Buffalo -1 at Jacksonville.
Yeah, Buffalo -1 for sure. We'll break it down in greater detail. I want to see where this Bears-Packers line settles and who's actually the favorite here. Initially, I would lean to the Green Bay side. I also lean Carolina. They could absolutely get blown out, but at 10.5, I would lean in that direction. The 49ers-Eagles one's going to be a tough one. I can't wait to see where that goes and what sort of scoring we get in that one. I would also lean to the Chargers.
Yeah, I lean to LA and I lean to Oregon. I'm a dog player, so I'm going to try and find a dog that I like. How about the Justin Herbert moneyline parlay? Oregon, Chargers. I wonder what that one pays out.
I don't mind that one. I don't mind that one at all. College-wise, is there anything on Miami-Ole Miss at the very least, since that's the one that we might not be on the air before?
I had texted a couple guys about laying 3, and then by the time everything percolated and everything settled, it had already moved. So I lean to Miami. Their O-line and D-line just so much better than Ole Miss's. But then you got to deal with Chambliss, right? Chambliss is the great equalizer. I lean to Miami, lean to Oregon, but I don't love anything yet.
Yep. I told it for a reason, into the 50s on Miami-Ole Miss. Great semis, man. Even though those dogs keep winning, I think they're on the right track. They thought they fixed it. They're going to make more changes. I think they're going to be a 16-team playoff next year. But I think it's been working. One of the issues that a lot of people had was it's the same teams every year in the end. It is not the same teams. Look at this Final Four that we have. I think it's really cool. Look at what NIL has done, man. It has wiped out the Blue Bloods, and now you have a whole crop of teams that are a lot closer to the teams at the very top. So it's a legit argument. And you know what? There was a team that wasn't invited to play that I think could very well be in the top 4 as well. So that's going to be their argument. They're going to use Notre Dame to expand.
Oh, I thought you were going to say BYU. Oh, Notre
Dame?
Yeah,
them too.
Oh, yeah.
Portnoy.
I've heard of
Yes.
I've heard of Notre Dame. I'm just so glad we got to watch James Madison and Tulane in the playoff. What a fun set of games that was.
Stupid. Okay, so also nothing official, but the chicken dinner, I don't know, is it a brand? Is it a network? We're kind of figuring that out right now as we move along. We're expecting expansion this week. So you might see another show pop up on the Chicken Dinner feed that you'd be very interested in checking out. So the plan is more content. You know, last week we're only able to get one show out. Week before that, we had a couple of shows. The plan is, especially right now, during the college football playoff, during the NFL playoffs, there will be more content coming your way via podcast and YouTube.
And there's a good chance the next voice you hear will probably be in some sort of a sling or a cast, if that helps you. If that gives you any hints at who it might be.
Yes. Who apparently had a phenomenal college football bowl season.
Yeah, I'd like proof. I would.
You think he's lying?
I don't know. When a guy says he's done that well, I just kind of like to check the books.
Wow. All right. So we will talk later this week. Appreciate all the support, guys. Keep it coming. The ratings and reviews, podcast, the YouTube likes, the comments, and all that. It really helps us get more views, and that's what we're looking to do as we continue to grow. For Sam, I'm Joe. Let's talk next week right here at Chicken Dinner.